House Hasty is a noble house of landed knights from the Stormlands, who are sworn to House Baratheon of Storm's End. They blazon their arms with a white bend, coasted on purple, and we currently do not know their words or much of their early history. Thus, we do not know if they were ever sworn to the Storm Kings of House Targaryen, or in fact the true age of the house. It is possible they were created after the conquest of Aegon. The first mention in the history books of House Hasty comes during the infamous wedding tourney at White Walls, where Sir Duncan the Tall spots a pavilion striped in white and purple, possibly a use of the colour of the sigil of House Hasty. But the first, and maybe only true notable member of the house, while having a minor role, has a particularly interesting one, especially when it comes to House Targaryen and specifically Daenerys. Sir Bonifer Hasty was born in or around 244 AC and is described as tall, thin, and is widely known for his piety. Sir Jaime Lannister notes that Bonifer is a withered, solemn stock of a man with a stern, sad face. Sir Bonifer is prone to salting his speeches with appeals to the Seven. When he was a young man, Sir Bonifer was said to be a promising Tourney knight. It is believed that he and Princess Rhaella Targaryen were infatuated with one another prior to the princess's official betrothal to her brother, Prince Aerys, who would later become known as the Mad King. According to Sir Barristan Selmy, Bonifer once wore the princess's favour in a tourney in which he defeated all challengers to name the princess his Queen of Love and Beauty. Sadly, their love was ultimately a brief thing and could never have realistically been otherwise, as Bonifer was far too low of birth to be considered a suitor to a princess of House Targaryen. When Rhaella married Aerys, the knight found solace in religion, finding that only the maiden could replace Rhaella in his heart. It is likely, without the insights of men such as Barristan Selmy, that not many during the events of the main book series would know of Bonifer's brief relationship with the late Queen Rhaella when they were both young. Jaime Lannister only knows that something happened to Bonifer to almost break him, to lead him down the path of his faith, a defeat or a disgrace or a near brush with death, and that he stopped jousting after this event, despite his noted talent for it. In the end, Jaime decided it was an empty vanity. At one point, Bonifer served under Lord Owen Merryweather, a former hand of the king to King Aerys II Targaryen. Later in life, Bonifer founded the Holy Hundred, a group of 100 pious men-at-arms. During the events of the War of Five Kings, Bonifer and his men joined Renly Baratheon at the beginning of the war. However, upon Renly's assassination at Storm's End, he quickly joins with Stannis Baratheon. Like many other lords of the Stormlands, Bonifer would take part in the Battle of the Blackwater, where he lost 13 of his Holy Hundred. Ultimately, as Stannis lost the battle, Bonifer was among the captured, where he then submits to King Joffrey I Baratheon. During the events of A Feast for Crows, after the War of Five Kings had died down, Bonifer and what was left of his Holy Hundred accompanied Sir Jaime Lannister to take Riverrun, which was still being held by Brynden Tully and what was left of the Tully resistance. On the way, they stop at Harrenhal, where Jaime announces that Bonifer will hold Harrenhal in the Crown's name during the absence of Peter Baelish, who had been made Lord of Harrenhal. During this time, Jaime considers it probable Autumn Merryweather had convinced Queen Regent Cersei Lannister to choose Bonifer as Castellan of Harrenhal, as Bonifer had once served Autumn's grandfather when he was handed the king to the Mad King. Jaime also takes note Bonifer hails from the Stormlands and has neither any enemies to feud with nor any allies to reward along the Trident, and he and his Holy Hundred have an excellent reputation for justice, sobriety, and discipline. Thus it makes a lot of sense from a tactical perspective to use Bonifer in this position. Before he sets out for Riverrun, Jaime takes his dinner in Harrenhal's Hunter's Hall alongside Bonifer and his men. Bonifer tells Jaime he will not suffer Gregor Clegane's men or their needless brutality and violence, and that he did not want them remaining at Harrenhal if he was there to act as Castellan. Jaime obliges and takes the Mountain's men with him when he leaves for Riverrun the following day, during the events of A Dance with Dragons, at her wedding procession of Daenerys Targaryen in Meereen, on her way to marry his Darzo Lorak. Sir Barristan Selmy takes Daenerys' mind off her looming marriage to Hisdar by telling her stories of her mother, Rhaella Targaryen. One of the stories Barristan recalls is that of Bonifer and Rhaella's love. telling Daenerys that Rhaella was once smitten with a young landed knight from the Stormlands. He tells her the knight put away his lance the day her mother wed her father, and became very pious, forming his own religious order of warriors. The knight's passion for Rhaella had no hope of fulfillment due to his much lower birth, meaning he would never have a chance with Rhaella. During this conversation, Barristan is very careful to choose his words, and specifically does not mention the name of the knight to Daenerys. In turn, she does not push or ask for the identity of the knight, who had fallen so deeply in love with her mother, until the release of the Winds of Winter, or other supplemental lore material. This is all we know of Sir Bonifer and House Hasty.